Cryptocurrencies are developing so rapidly that you might not notice how an entire blockchain era has changed. Today we are already in the second one. The first era, known as proof of concept, came with the advent of Bitcoin and Ethereum, good old time of large layer 1 chains and simple bridges between them. The first era remembered as a period of time when people searched the most technologically advanced and productive endgame blockchain, which will form the basis of all future chains and become the whole engine of cryptocurrencies. Casually discourse on Ethereum killers, we quietly enter the second era. Nowadays, many understand the future of cryptocurrencies as a multi-chain universe in which the world will be divided by tens of thousands and even millions of unique blockchains intertwined and interacting with each other. However, before step into the multi-chains era, such as it portrayed by the crypto philosophers of the new time, one piece of the puzzle should found: the interoperability. In crypto, the interoperability term understood as blockchain's connection with data exchange processes simplified as much as possible, up to the seamless interaction, when the flow of software processes occurs somewhere at the code level and is completely invisible to its users. Nowadays, in order to transfer assets from network A to network B, the user has to turn to a third party, use technically complex software, pay expensive transaction fees, risk the security of their assets. A simple procedure for transferring a couple of tokens can turn into a nightmare. Such a reflection of our interoperability level today. How then are we going to enter the multi-chain crypto universe? The answer: Axelar Network. Let's face our example with assets that we move between networks A and B. How does Axelar achieve interoperability in there? Problem: the architecture of most existing blockchains not designed to connect to other chains someday. The vast majority of blockchains are original and independent of each other. Therefore, in order to move assets between networks and B, users forced independently look for so-called bridges, cross-chain protocols created to combine independent blockchains. If you think that users will be fine, imagine what it is like for developers in case of needs there have to create bridges from scratch or even rebuild theirs blockchain code. Solution: in Axelar Network, the problem of bridges solved radically all the necessary protocols pre-programmed for all the blockchains it supports. Ethereum, Polygon, Terra, Avalanche, and many other networks already packaged in the Axelar Network protocol. Developers no longer need to search their blockchains and even conduct costly bridge development. Now they can use a single API and connect to the required blockchains in a few lines of code. Users' life also become easier, as popular blockchains acquire built-in channels for the exchange of tokens. No more hidden fees and third parties to send tokens. All transactions will be carried out directly from one blockchain to another. However, interoperability is not limited to the technical implementation alone. Currently, all interoperability solutions divided into 3 categories. Each of the categories has its own critical shortcomings. 1. Ecosystem protocols. Examples: Cosmos and Polkadot. The main disadvantage is that scaling to the outside world, going beyond the boundaries of one's ecosystems, will result in many years of development. The reason is that ecosystem protocols are very dependent on the consensus specification, and if the specification does not match the base one, then you will have to make such significant changes to the protocol code that it is easier to write another one from scratch. 2. Blockchains for applications. Examples: Thorchain. Such blockchains can be integrated into any protocols, including ecosystem ones. They are built with a specific technology in mind, for example, market-making apps, and often do not offer much more than that. One popular blockchain has been in development for 3 years now, trying to open itself to new technologies, let alone for just eliminate connectivity flaws. Point 3. Bridges. The most popular way to connect different blockchains today, due to its relative simplicity. The problem of bridges: in most cases, you are not dealing with blockchains, but with centralized databases managed by a couple of people. Imagine that you want anonymously and securely move your assets from one decentralized system to another, but all the money necessarily passes through a figurative private bank calls itself bridge. Anonymity and security not guaranteed. Perhaps there is nothing more vulnerable in crypto than bridges. How will Axelar Network respond to that? Easy. The blockchain originally developed as a set of interoperability tools. Unlike ecosystem blockchains, Axelar does not have its own consensus architecture, which allows this protocol to understand any other blockchains by accepting their rules, rather than setting its own. In addition, Axelar compares favorably with modern bridges by the presence of decentralized transactions. This is a real blockchain with its own validators and nodes, without behind-the-scenes owners, with a completely open source, a real layer of security for all transactions. Now, as we know more about interoperability, time to move on to the main question: What happens if Axelar Network ultimately bring the long-awaited interoperability to the crypto world? Consider this from the point of view of the main consumers of interoperability, users, and developers of blockchains and applications. The first question that blockchain developers ask themselves after they start working on the code is how to attract more liquidity. Developers are starting to consider interoperability with other ecosystems. Even those small projects that are already part of the ecosystem of large blockchains are still trying to build a bridge to Ethereum and attract any additional liquidity. However, with such a strategy, efforts are scattered. On the one hand, the developer is trying to deliver his best possible product. On the other, you have to devote precious resources and team attention to building a bridge that may not have been included in the original plan. This could turn into a disaster. However, thanks to Axelar, to achieve this desired goal, you do not have to spend resources at all. The bridge will go to your project at the cost of a few lines of code. A future in which any developer can connect to any blockchain or ecosystem without raising additional resources may sound like a fantasy, but the fact, this is exactly what will happen if Axelar Network succeeds. However, the real progress of the crypto world will come when users get interoperability. Imagine an internet where communication between protocols was not seamless. To enter some sites, you have to switch your home modem yourself to enter into correspondence or make a call. You need to connect through 5-6 virtual hubs in order to manually send data packets from one to another. If you can do this, then we hope your interlocutor is the same talented. This is roughly what is happening today in the world of cryptocurrencies. We are dealing with complex and strict rules tomorrow's mass consumer may not even be aware of. Tomorrow's user will not focus on choosing the painful choice of wallet depending on the software, but will concentrate on the benefits and efficiency that the crypt brings. Tomorrow has already begun for you. Because now you have learned about Axelar Network, the mainnet of the Axelar Network to deployed on January 22, 2022.